The free or literal translation theme has been involved in translation since the origin of this profession, even if the way of dealing with it has changed. The difference between the free or literal translation is the orientation of the translated text. If it is oriented towards the source language, it means that the translation is literal. Otherwise, if the text is oriented to the target language, it means that the translation is free. Since the classic age, many theorists and scholars dealt with this problem, even if the first theories were focused only on literal or sacral texts. During the 90s, a turning point occurs, thanks to the creation of the translation studies, that include also other disciplines about translation, among which law, science, localization, and audiovisual translation. In 1990, we talk about a cultural turn because translation is now perceived as a cultural negotiation rather than a simple equivalence, in which the translator is the bridge between two cultures. One of the many theorists who showed interest in this topic is Schleiermacher. He acknowledged only two translating methods, the domestication and the foreignization. This means that a translator can adapt the foreign text to the cultural values of the target language, or he can send the reader abroad, adapting the translation to the source language. The theme of domestication-foreignization is obviously a development of the free literal translation, both specific of some countries or cultural periods. During the 17th century, England preferred a fluent and clear translation, according to the domesticating method. The purpose of domestication is actually to remove any source of misunderstanding inside the text, which becomes clear and fluent. In this case, the translator turns out to be an invisible presence. However, not all scholars agree with this method. Lawrence Venuti, for example, is a supporter of the foreignization. He refuses the domesticating method because the translator might be pushed into the background compared with the author, becoming invisible. According to him, the only way to give the translator his importance is by resisting to the original text, being independent. Also, other authors express themselves about the domestication and foreignization. For example, Eugen Nida is a supporter of the domesticating method. He states that to make people understand a text in the same way of the original readers, the message should be pertinent only to the target language. On the contrary, Umberto Eco believes that both methods are useful according to the case and the context. Even if scholars and theorists have different opinions about the translation approaches, they agree on the importance of culture in translation. This conviction brought to the creation of new disciplines inside the translation studies, like localization and audiovisual translation. They are two different fields, but they are both the fruit of the technological process and globalization. These two fields are both target-oriented. The domesticating method is in this case the predominant solution, because the translator works according to the target country needs. In particular, localization involves the adaptation process of a specific software or site web to another country where it will be used and sold. Like localization, the audiovisual translation is strongly target-oriented, because the translator works mainly for the good of the target culture. One of the most recent translating methods concerns the video game localization. In this field, the source text fidelity is less relevant compared to other textual genres, because localization aims to a functional equivalence between the origin and target product. So, in video game localization, the fidelity is accorded to the entire game experience. However, the audiovisual products include also images, so there can't be only one translation strategy for a whole film. Moreover, the original nature of the film shouldn't be hidden, because it is a source of cultural enrichment for the public. So, the two strategies of domestication and foreignization have always been present in the translator work since the origin of this profession. In conclusion, the only possible solution for every type of text is in the middle of free and literal translation, a coexistence that will permit to achieve the perfect translation being.